Right, hi there. Well, here we are in the Cicare-8. I hope you actually pronounce it Cicare and not Cicare-8. I've never met anyone else that's actually said the word, so I'm not sure on that, but I'm going to call it the Cicare-8. From Vskylabs, I did a review of it on a flat screen yesterday and said I'd have a look at it in VR today, and it's lovely. Basically, there's a lot of glass, so when you're flying in VR, the amount of visual experience that you've got is very, very good. If I take your hand controller off, we've got the usual thing. We can actually take the doors off for that experience as well. I'm going to put them back on for the moment and then shut. And the nice thing with it, we've got Aviators as standard. The dashboard is very clear, it's clean looking. The detail in this cockpit is extraordinary. If you look down there, we've got the mats, they've got the logos on, but it's the seat quality as well. I'm not sure how good a view you'll get in there of the stitching and everything in there. The carbon fibre sort of dotting on the inside. The outside is just as beautiful, but anyway, we're here for a little bit of a fly around, and I'm doing some work on my VR stick controller, so I'm using the X52 joystick like yesterday. Hopefully a little bit of left pedal, and just have a look at the H. I found it extremely stable helicopter when flying it on the flat screen. Certainly would make a great beginner's helicopter. Somebody who just, was starting off. I put it in the same realms as the Cabri. They're very, very similar in the way that they fly. The one difference maybe is that this requires, or seems to require, a lot more forward trim, or holding the stick more forward to maintain that forward flight. We do one nip over to the racetrack, as I call it, here at Shoreham. But you aim it, and I'm holding about a quarter of a stick forward on at the moment, and I can take, because I'm going to be doing some forward flight, I'm going to add some clicks of trim forward, so that means I just don't have to hold it. I've just got to remember that when we go back into the hover to take it off, otherwise it's going to be a bit hard to slow it down. So here we come round. And the other thing I noticed yesterday as well was how well the tail sort of follows the nose, and it's not just the amount of foot pedal movement. When you do a bank turn in this at these sort of speeds, it really does follow very, very nicely. And I used the words, it was a very fluid sort of flight. If we can get through here, it required minimal amounts of collective to keep once it's going forwards. It just seems to hold its height very well. We come around these trees. It banks very, very nicely and feels very predictable in what it's going to do. So there we go, a little run through some trees, nothing too fast. Run down the edge of the runway here, down the dots. I hope I'm holding my head quite still, not shaking too much in this mode. So let's head off to Brighton, have a look around some buildings. Now, as I've gone into more forward flight, I've added about 2 or 3 clicks of left trim on there, and I've got about 4 clicks of forward trim on. Still having to hold a little bit on the joystick to maintain that forward flight, but it just helps to put the joystick back in the center so you're not straining and sort of gripping it like death all the time. Gives you a little bit more chance to relax. You've just got to remember that, as I mentioned earlier, when you come back into the hover or you want to start slowing down, you know, it's 2 clicks to the right and 4 back, and you should be back into a nice stable position with the helicopter for hovering. But again, head out to sea a little bit this way. Really, really clear instrumentation, and the autopilot there on the left can be removed if you click on it. You can get a passenger if you put the payload weight up, and then viewing from outside, just like the Cadbury, you end up with 2 people in the helicopter. I haven't done anything on the navigation side yet. It's been literally just flying around, getting used to it. It's got some nice switch detail up the top here, and obviously from outside, the detailing in the engine and the radiator section underneath these seats, where the push rods are and that type of thing, is just really, really well done. If you can sort of do the flying from outside where you're stationary, a bit like radio control stuff, and hover around in front of you and have a look, it really is very, very detailed, the whole thing. So let's see if we can pick a little bit more speed up. We're only at about 55, so I'm going to push joystick forward a bit more collective. Little bit of left pedal. And the instrumentation, it reminds me a little bit of the 500 pocket rocket, as I call it. And the front panel is a sort of halfway house on the Capri in terms of its looks. So it sort of really does sit between the Pocket Rocket and the Capri in terms of its mass and the instrumentation and everything. I still love the Capri as a helicopter to fly around for general use. It's a mid-size type helicopter, that one of the first things that I'd ever purchased, and I still love it to bits. But this flies really quite nicely. As I say, the only main difference is the amount of forward you have to hold on to maintain forward flight seems higher. But in VR, obviously, with this amount of glass around us, it's a great helicopter for VR flying. See here, we're just coming up to the VMI Twick Tower, which used to be, I think it's British Airways, or it certainly used to be. Did a video of that, well, about a year ago, I think. It's animated, it goes up and down. Still got the floating buildings from Orbix. It's still not on the ground, all of them, but you know, every time they do a library update, something seems to be improved. Tower's just going up now, so let's have a look. It's got nice progressive tail control. Sorry if I'm a bit wobbly forward and backwards, but still not got used to going back to this joystick with the springs on, so nicely animated pictures of people inside. I've done this a few times. It's a great piece of work by Orbix, and makes good practice on a helicopter as well. If you can fly around it nose in, and then when it goes down, keep with it. It's not the best job I'm doing today, but that gives us a good look. And we'll just nip down and have a look at the bridge. The pier. What on earth did I call it a bridge? It's a bridge going nowhere. That's what it would be. And there I've taken the collective off, and it's got a nice forward descent. When you take the collective off, you need to hold a bit of right on the way down, a bit more right pedal, and then we bring that back on now, and it's the opposite. We need a bit of left pedal. And a nice view of the Brighton Pier. And then we'll just zoom in here, and we'll head for Sergio's house again. So I'm going to knock back a little bit on the trims. I've taken 4 off forward flight and 2 back to the right, so I'm hoping that as I slow her down and get back into the hover, it's just very, very stable and nice to fly. It's one of those things that the bigger helicopters, like the AB412, Tom's 429, they are super helicopters for stability and hovering, because of the mass and everything that they've got. But I think a lot of beginners get put off. They just take one look at all the instrumentation and they think, well, that's too much. But we all know that actually you can just start it on auto start and use one of those big helicopters, and they are a pleasure to fly. I'm going to say for VR flying, this is one of the nicest, just because of the total amount of glass, and it comes into the same category as the MD500 in terms of the amount of visibility that you've got and the experience of low down, flying through the trees or just hovering around looking at buildings like we are here. Where in some of the larger helicopters, the amount of instrumentation blocks out much of the view. So I like going to places and basically doing this, flying around very low down, just looking for things that the developers might have hidden and put into their scenery. They've just put a couple of clicks back on of left trim. Just felt, that's better. I was holding it on too much, and there we go. Look underneath that building. Let's head over the top. So if you give it a good bit of collective, you've got to put a lot of forward stick on to keep it level. Ease off the collective, stick sort of returns back to the middle now, and it's absolutely steady. That's hands off, just sitting there. Actually, I'll add a couple of clicks at right, and it's hands off, very stable. I'm going to give it just a push to the right on the joystick, let it settle itself out. And it's still hands off now, using the feet to rotate a bit there, and you can see it adds a bit of a bank in if you push in the right pedal. Still not touching the joystick at all at the moment, and if we do it left, adds a bit more of a bank. So the amount of power from the towel affects the lean and also how much power the main collective has got. So I've grabbed hold of the joystick again and we'll head back. But it's very well balanced, so large amounts of collective movement, got to put a lot of stick forward, keeping it level or fast forward flight, but in the hover, tail movement doesn't really cause any problems in that direction. So I think we're going to land it on the beach. It's not worth going all the way back to Shoreham. We know what Shoreham looks like. And we'll land it on the grass. There we go. Not quite used to the skid height yet. But there we go in VR. It's a lovely piece of work. Highly recommended. The detailing is just brilliant. And if we do jump outside, how good does that look? If ever I got a big lottery win or something like that, I think I'd have one of these for playing around in the garden. It would be great, wouldn't it? There we go again. And as I mentioned earlier, the engine detail there. Might get a bit closer. Look at that. That is unbelievable. And underneath there's a lot of joints and other things you can see when it takes off. Nice batch of LED lights. Look at the carbon fibre. Passenger side. I don't know if that opens the doors. No, maybe it's from the inside only. There we go. Bit noisier. But look at those seats and the seat belts. Just fantastic. There we go. Hit myself in the face with the door. How good is that? And then shut the door again. Right, well, thanks for watching, and as usual, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all next week.